your patterns, and what does this mean? Your patterns are survival methods or coping mechanisms that you learned as a child in order to survive in this world. From a very early age, you learned that love was conditional and you have to be and do certain things in order to get love and not have it taken away. You learned that getting love makes life comfortable and that getting people to like you and help you, and this makes you happy. In some cases, even your physical survival depended on this. If you had a parent that was violent or abusive, if you didn't do what they wanted, you didn't get love and you weren't cared for. So, not getting love could literally mean that you didn't get fed or you didn't have a roof over your head. So, it was crucial for you to figure out how to avoid this. You learned very quickly that having love taken away meant pain. Rejection, abandonment, fear, anger, judgment, all those feelings were not nice, and you learned to avoid them. In order to avoid them, you started creating behavioral patterns in order to get more love, or at least more connection, and to avoid the pain that comes from not having it. So, for example, you might have become a people pleaser and put other people's needs ahead of your own, or you might have learned to hide. If they can't see me, they can't hurt me, or then I can't do anything wrong. You might have learned to be in fight mode. If I fight, then they can't beat me and they can't have power over me. You might have learned to always prove yourself. If I can just prove my worth, people will respect me or they'll love me. So, for example, let's say you're 3 and your little brother is born. From day one, your little brother is quite demanding, as babies are, and he demands a lot of attention. And then it turns out this little brother has some kind of special need as well. So, throughout your childhood, he doesn't become less demanding. You realize very early that this little brother causes a lot of stress for mom and dad. So you firstly go to great lengths to help little brother regulate his tantrums so that mom and dad can just have a little bit less stress. And secondly, you avoid having any kind of problems of your own. You don't want to make their stress more, you can already see they're overwhelmed. So you kind of keep all your problems to yourself, you don't express yourself, you don't allow yourself to feel anything. And you're always putting yourself last. You might even develop some kind of illness like asthma or allergies or something from suppressing yourself so much. And this can go on through your whole adulthood as well. So you can see it's not necessarily about having a bad childhood or having bad parents. It's just life and how we learn to cope with it. These are all just patterns. It's not who you are, but when you start questioning them, you can start noticing them and become more aware of how they don't serve you anymore. There was a time in your life when they did serve you, and maybe even literally kept you alive. In some cases, people have to learn to dance around their parents or their caregivers' volatilities in order to just survive. Remember that our parents are just people with their own issues and their own pain and their own patterns and their own triggers. They were just bigger than us and we were dependent on them. Now that you're an adult, you can break free of all that and you can be the parent to your younger self that created these patterns. You can now be the one that loves your younger self unconditionally. The one that allows your younger self to feel the pain it was exposed to. It was never safe for you to feel the pain before, but now it is. You can now tap into the unconditional love of God and realize that you're just having a human experience. You are not the patterns, and the meaning you gave them is not you. It is just your programming. So now, as a person that's growing in consciousness and looking for healing and looking for expanding yourself, these patterns have to come up in order for you to recognize them and break free from them. Behind every pattern is a meaning about you or about the world that you created. Nothing has meaning except for the meaning you give it. Really think about that for a minute. So if your pattern is to always prove yourself, that is driven by a belief that you are not good enough, or you are unworthy, or you are insignificant. If you have a pattern that is constantly fighting, the belief behind that might be, it's all up to me, I can't depend on anyone, or I'm unsafe, or I'm vulnerable. These patterns and beliefs completely run our lives, and absolutely everything we do is to protect ourselves from the pain that caused this pattern or to get love. It's just getting love or avoiding the pain of not having the love all the time. That's going around in a circle. Getting love, avoiding the pain of not having love. So this is where addictions come in. Big addictions like alcoholism and drugs, but also small addictions like eating, smoking, even complaining, gossiping, sulking, or shutting down. All addictions are just coping mechanisms. They're ways that you have figured out to stop the pain from being so loud. When you feel the pain from one of your beliefs surface, you want to go and make it go away. You want to do something to distract yourself. And that's where these addictions kick in. It's a feeling, it's not a thought. So you're not aware of it unless you choose to become aware of them and start looking out for them. So you learn that this distraction works for at least a little while and makes you forget about those beliefs. I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable, I'm misunderstood, I'm insignificant. These beliefs are just created by your programming as a child, so you can create a pattern to protect yourself. It's not the truth of who you are. Only you are deciding that it is. Now that you're becoming aware that you are not the belief and that the patterns don't serve you anymore, you can now stand back and you can observe them. Carl Cease has a hilarious saying about this. He says, "You are the butt, not the poop." By the way, go and have a look at his videos. He does some great stuff. So what he means by this is that when you see these patterns and beliefs about yourself starting to come up and surface, it can be really scary. It can be frightening to see this stuff come out of you. But you need to remember that it's coming out of you. It's not who you are. You are busy releasing it. Therefore, you are the butt, not the poop. I love that. So part of his analogy is also that this is not a once-off thing. You can't go to the bathroom and say, "Oh, I'm done. I've done my thing and now I'm clean forever." No, it's a daily ritual. It's emotional cleansing and releasing happens all the time, every single day. As long as you're busy having a human experience, you will have negative experiences and be exposed to things that bring out triggers and beliefs and patterns in you. It's a lifetime journey, it's not a destination. You can never say, "Okay, now I'm healed." No, you'll become more and more healed and you become more and more aware as you progress, but you're still having a human experience. And sometimes you just need to enjoy it as that. If you go into the pressure of trying to be healed or trying to be conscious, that just becomes another pattern. Now your pattern comes from a belief that you have to be perfect. If I'm perfect or healed, then I'm safe. Or I am worthy, which means your belief that I'm unsafe or I'm unworthy is still there. This is just a new mask or a new pattern to avoid feeling it. It's the same as if you go around now trying to heal or fix other people. That also comes from a belief of needing to prove your worth or whatever belief is behind it. The pattern might say, if I save others, I'm worthy of being saved. Or if I don't save others, then I'm not worthy of being saved. Or I have a belief of being misunderstood. I can prove that I'm not a failure or a loser or broken. I can prove that I have meaning or that I'm significant. These patterns are always trying to leave your body, but the thing is, we don't let them because we think we need them. Every time it comes up, you put it back. You engage with it, you play with it, and then you try and put it back again. It's like trying to put your poop back after playing with it. Every time a pattern or a belief that drives a pattern comes up, it's trying to be seen. It's almost as if it comes up for you to screen it. Do I still need this in this scenario or don't I need this pattern? But we don't see it like that, so then we just use it by default. So instead of seeing it, we try to get other people to see it. We try to get other people to tell us that we're worthy or significant or good enough. That's why we choose people in our lives who bring up our childhood triggers, because we believe that if this person who does what my parent did, rejects me like my dad did, or makes me feel unsafe like my mom did, can stop doing that, then the opposite will be true. So for example, you might choose a partner that never kind of invests in you fully, like your dad did. Subconsciously, you believe that he will heal your father wound because he married you, right? So he did choose you. But then he cheats on you and leaves you for another woman, which then, instead of healing you, just strengthens your "I'm rejected" or "I'm unworthy" wound, which makes you choose another man who doesn't invest in you fully, only to repeat the pattern. So this pattern doesn't want to be seen by another person. It doesn't want to be seen by mom, who created the "I am significant" wound, or by dad, who created the "I am rejected" wound. It wants to be seen by you. That's why it keeps coming up for you in your life. It wants to be seen by you so that you can decide if you still need it. Even the wound "I am unseen" wants to be seen by you. The more you reject these beliefs about yourself, the bigger they become and the louder they become. The point is not to reject them, but to rather to love them, to recognize them as beliefs so that they are no longer seen as truths. You need to acknowledge them and show them unconditional love because it's the very belief in love being conditional that created them in the first place. Love for yourself doesn't have to be conditional. You can decide. I'm sure you've heard that God's love is unconditional, right? I know most of you have heard these words being said in religious contexts, but we never really get to think about what does it actually mean, God's love is unconditional. But it really is. God's love is truly, truly unconditional. God's love is everywhere and it's embodied in everything. God and love are not two separate things. It's not a person with a feeling. God and love is the same thing. God, the Creator, is love, and love is the energy everything is made of. Love is just the closest word we have to explain it. We don't really have a proper word. No thing can exist without being part of God. It is pure energy, the energy of love. Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be changed, but it still stays energy. So, therefore, no thing can destroy love. Love is energy. So, no thing can take away love, and it cannot be conditional. Love is indestructible. Life, essence, source, energy, it's all the same thing and it can't go away. Where is a way? A way doesn't exist. There's only God. There's nothing other than the energy of the Creator. So there cannot be in a way. Where can it go? Approval and connection from other human beings can only be taken away on the earth level. But love can't be taken away from you as a spiritual being. It is literally what you are made of. So let that part of you hold the belief and the patterns your earth self created with unconditional love. No judgment, no wanting it to go away, no seeking for approval or connection, just pure love. Just allowing it to be. It's funny how we fight against our beliefs, but then we also fight for them. We don't want to be insignificant, unworthy, unseen, but then we do things to reinforce them by repeating the patterns over and over so that we can keep them because they're comfortable and they make us feel safe because we know them and we know how to protect ourselves against them. So it's like doing the same puzzle every day because you know it and you know how to beat it. So when you love your patterns, they lose their power over you. It stops trying to prove that it is lovable or worthy because you showed it love. You showed the belief I am unlovable and I am unworthy, that it is not that, just by loving it. So it literally can no longer exist. You didn't make it go away, you just acknowledged it. You just loved it, which automatically changed the energy of what it was. So it had to change. That's a lot to get your head around, but don't let it spin too much. Just love it.